Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, February 25th. I'm Gary Stevens. Thursday, the fourth Thursday of the month, we set aside our 10:30 block to get caught up with things going on at the Fillmore Street Complex. That is where the Ottawa County government has its meetings. The Board of Commissioners and many of the government offices are there in West Olive. And when we do have an update on Ottawa County government, we have one or two of the county commissioners joining us, and sometimes even the County Administrator Al Vandenberg joining us as well. But today we have the Vice Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Matt Fenske, as well as second term Commissioner from Holland, Doug Zylstra. They are on our Zoom connection. And gentlemen, good morning and welcome to WHTC for you, Mr. Fenske, and Doug, welcome back.
Good morning, Gary.
Morning, Gary. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you very much for joining us. And if you have a question for either Commissioner Fenske or Commissioner Zylstra, they'll be happy to answer it at 395-1450, 395-1450. We'll begin. Is you heard the CBS News update about the possibility of a help with Moderna, that COVID-19 South African strain. Certainly the effort has been ongoing with the Department of Public Health in Ottawa County to get people vaccinated. And I would think as commissioners, you have to be pleased with the effort the department has done in trying to get people vaccinated and get people through this pandemic situation.
Absolutely. I very proud of our health department and how they've been able to push out the vaccinations. As of February 22, we vaccinated over 59,910 residents. And about 40% of that population is over the age of 65. And so, about 20% of the county's 65 and older population have received already both their doses, which is really, really good. And just to make sure that, we're making sure that those that are eligible to receive, about 8% of non-white or Hispanic ethnicities have been able to receive, an estimated about 6% that are eligible in that particular demographic. So we think that we're reaching out to our racially diverse populations also in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I really want to highlight the work of the county health department on that aspect as well. I mean, they've been working hard, obviously, getting everybody who is eligible vaccinated. But there's a good story in the Sentinel just about the work that they've done. And, like Matt said, making sure we keep pushing up the numbers, make sure we communicate to folks, when they can get the vaccine and how they can get the vaccine.
The point I was going to bring up, both you, Doug, and Matt as well, I'm not certain how much you may have caught the comments by Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist during the press briefing yesterday, but that's been a point of emphasis on his part to try to get minorities vaccinated and make sure the vaccine's available to them, because there's perception that minorities aren't getting the vaccines they need and they're contracting the disease at a far higher rate than maybe the majority of people do right now.
I think we have, in general, a real healthy county. We're usually, second or third in the state. And so, it's important to be able to get and reach out to, our populations, whether they're migrant workers up in the northern part that are going to be coming in soon, or folks in some of our more populated cities. But I think we're making a pretty good attempt to do this, and it's very important because those folks need to be able to have that sense of safety and security also.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Gary, we've been working very hard in the non-white population, in part because our numbers have shown over the last 10, 12 months that that population has suffered, a little bit more inordinately from coronavirus than, the other populations in Ottawa County as well.
395-1450, 395-1450. If you have a question for Ottawa County Commissioners Matt Fenske and Doug Zylstra, or Doug Zylstra and Matt Fenske, I'm not going to try to put preference. I'm just going alphabetical right now. And I'm not putting preference because Commissioner Fenske is the vice chairman of the board. You know, I'm not trying to kiss up to the to the leadership there. But certainly, if you have a question for those two gentlemen, they'll be happy to answer. Doug, of course, from the Holland area, and Matt represents northern part of Ottawa County, Coopersville, I believe, Spring Lake, and some of the other northern tier townships in Ottawa County. Physical health is one thing, and we've touched upon that with the COVID-19 outbreak. But a byproduct of the outbreak is the increased awareness and maybe increased stress placed upon the Department of Community Mental Health. And the board got a report from the CMH this past month and the efforts they are going to do. I will hold off on asking for responses to that, because I do want to get a call in, and we want our callers to be able to chat with you, gentlemen. Good morning. You're on the line with Commissioners Zylstra and Fenske.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Well, thank you for your service. It's another wonderful day here in West Michigan. I got a concern about your so-called mental health system here in Ottawa County. We've been looking into it for a number of years, and we've determined that using people as human guinea pigs to test drugs on behalf of drug companies. What you should do is you should hire a nutritionist, healthologists and healthiatrists and so forth, and more therapists, and emphasize what's called food for mental health and so forth. And a lot of people know what's happening there, and they called some of the authorities and laughing about it. But they're testing drugs in human beings. They're called neurotoxins. They have the drug companies and so forth. But you might want to look into that and recommend hiring nutritionists, healthologists, and healthiatrists, and more therapists. So, thank you for your service. Have a good day.
Thank you very much for the call. 395-1450, 395-1450. Gentlemen, the Department of Community Mental Health annual report. It's been challenging, but they've been able to do the job. Doug or Matt, you can comment a little bit about the report that they gave to the board this earlier this month.
Yeah, both Doug and I are on the Community Mental Health Board of Ottawa County, and we have periodically every year a satisfaction survey, and the satisfaction survey comes right from the recipients of those services. And overall, we received a 4.4 rating from our SUD population. Substance abuse, use disorders.
Real quick, Matt, when you say 4.4 rating, is that based out of 5 or
yes,
or what?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to get that to clarify, but go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, and then our MI population, mentally impaired, there's a 4.32. Our CFS population, it was a 4.39, and then finally our DD population was a 4.37. So the consumers, the receivers of these services take this survey, and then that kind of gives us a little guide as to how we're doing and how we're reaching out to those folks. But it has been a very challenging year, especially with not meeting in person quite often, but telehealth has really been strong lately with our therapeutic counselors and reach out folks that people are receiving the services, even though we can't sometimes see them face to face. We're meeting with them on a regular basis.
And the thing is, and go ahead, Doug.
No. I just wanted to, one thing that and Matt is actually the chair of the CMH, so you got the man on the line. But one thing that we did the past business meeting was approve a bunch of the 14 new positions, I think it was, Matt, in yes. CMH. We get some increased Medicaid revenues, and we've been seeing more service requests. So it kind of comes at a time where we have some increased Medicaid revenue and some more grant funding. So we've had 14 basically full-time positions, as I understand, Matt, to kind of help meet that demand. It's a critical time. COVID, hopefully, is kind of we're getting to the end of the the tunnel there, but obviously service requests and demands are continuing for the CMH. So I'm glad that we were able to approve those positions and kind of get more bandwidth for CMH going forward.
This is going to sound obvious, gentlemen, but Doug just alluded to it. Maybe the COVID-19 situation, we might be seeing light at the end of the tunnel, but the mental health aspects of what we've gone through for literally a year. It will be a year, pretty much March 10, when the governor's stay home, stay safe order began last year. I have a funny feeling the mental health aspects of this is going to be lasting far beyond any physical aspects of this COVID-19 outbreak.
Yeah, all the way from our kids in our schools and some of our elderly population. Sometimes we don't hear what our mental health millage is providing us. And we hired a program coordinator last year in April, and that program coordinator has been able to secure $961,000 in community programming. And one would be the housing assistance, providing housing assistance for people who are homeless and disabled, a full-time residential specialist, and to help out working with adult foster care and placement options. And then, of course, the folks that are meeting in our detention facilities for our youth and in our jail population. Even the Holland Drop-In Center served over 106 folks in the past years. So some of these millage dollars are used for leveraging and gathering other grants to provide those, like what Doug had alluded to, those 12, 14 new positions. And those are usually over a period of about 3 years.
Gentlemen, I want to talk about the county's diversity efforts in the wake of the Equality Act on a national level, a federal level, that's going to go before the U.S. House today for a vote. It would be sweeping protections to amend current federal civil rights laws to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. I'm not going to ask you to comment on that particular piece of legislation, but certainly Ottawa County has been working to improve its inclusiveness and its diversity efforts. And I know, Doug, you've been pretty much one of the people that's been in the forefront of this. And this Equality Act, if it does clear the House and maybe get signed into law, would help perhaps in the Ottawa County efforts as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we're looking at both state and federal efforts. I think there's still some state efforts in that, but everything happens locally. And I think that our office has been working really hard on those issues. So whatever help we can get from the federal government, from the state government, to kind of make sure equity and equalities are at the forefront, I think would be super helpful.
The other thing too is the fact that the county realized a couple of years ago, Doug, I think it was pretty much when, I wouldn't say you brought it in, but I would say a couple of years ago, needing to address this issue so that the county can be more inclusive, to be able to feel as welcoming and open for people of all colors and all races and all genders. And certainly, I don't know whether or not you can say how much of improvement has it been, but how much of improvement has it been since it really started?
Right. No, I think the fact that, we have Robin Affrick as our director, and I think that, obviously everything takes time. Change doesn't come easy, but I think the fact that she's there and that she's a voice at the table for diversity and equity in our county is very important. I think that, as we grow as a county, I mean, obviously numbers, we're the fastest growing county, but we're also diversifying. I think that, voices look to Ottawa County and look to her department, as a source of strength and a source of, action going forward. So
395-1450 if you have a question for Ottawa County Commissioners Doug Zylstra, whom you just heard, and Matt Fenske. One effort that the county has done over the last few years is trying to preserve farmland, to keep it farmland without it being subject to development. I forgot the term, and gentlemen, either one of you can correct, can refresh me, but it has to do with tapias.
Oh, tapas, yes, that's one of our fundraisers for the PDR program. The Ag Board has been around for 12, 14 years, and one of the components of that is purchase of development rights. And the gentleman that called in just a while ago, he was talking about nutrition and things like that for our county population. One of the farms that we're going to be moving forward in preserving is the Shadyside Farm, and he is located in Olive Township, but he always has a stand at the Holland Farmers Market. And that's a pretty good hunk of property. That's 123 acres. If we get that funded, that will be a pretty cool feather in our cap. But we're not making any more dirt in our county, and I believe Ottawa County lost 8% of its farmland and 17% of its farms since 2017. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to preserve some of these real choice farms with real prime soil, and it would be for perpetuity. We get the funding from perhaps the state and federal grants. We've received over $860,000 from state and federal grants, and then about $225,000 for private donations. But that tapas, what you mentioned, is one of our little fundraisers that we have, and that's going to be September the 23rd, 2021, right in Hudsonville area. So it's a neat program.
Yeah, I don't know why I put an I in there. I apologize for that. Oh, yes. Speaking about eyes, better take a look at the time. One final thing, again, and we touched a little bit about it when we chatted with Ottawa County Clerk Justin Roebuck an hour or so ago. People can still do business with Ottawa County, but they got to set up appointments if they want to do it in person. And so far, from what I understand, it's been working out okay.
It's been a safe environment. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, no, it has been working out okay. I think, folks who are not as tech savvy, I think we can do a little bit better on that. And, I'd like to continue conversations about, we are not going to be done with COVID tomorrow. And, the appointment only services will last for a while, and the online will be, around for a long time. And I think that's very, convenient and helpful. I also think that there are senior citizens in the disabled community, and we need to kind of work on that aspect as well. But definitely, a very convenient access point.
Not only obviously at the Fillmore Street complex for most county government activities, but also with the local setups, Holland with the courthouse, the Georgetown Township / Hudsonville one, and of course the county seat over in Grand Haven for needing the court services as well. And just to be able to spread it out, because and I don't want to start being a pain in the what. But if they're going to start building more houses up in the Coopersville and far northeast corner of Ottawa County, maybe we might have to do something around Coopersville to accommodate the people in Wright Township in the far northeast corner, because the southeast corner, that's taken care of with Hudsonville. They can get to it easily. But northeast corner, it's a little bit of a haul trying to get from Conklin down to Hudsonville, and there's no straight line from there to here.
Well, we got the county covered, because Doug is down in the southwest corner, and I cover all the way up to Little Chester Township in the very northeast corner. So we're about the farthest apart, but we all do the work for the entire county. That's what we do.
He is Ottawa County Board Vice Chairman Matt Fenske, along with Ottawa County Commissioner Doug Zylstra. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today on WHTC's Talk of the Town. Wish both of you and all the commissioners well, and we'll get another update a month from now. Gentlemen, again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
And that is Ottawa County Commissioners Matt Fenske and Doug Zylstra on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.